and good morning. We can resume the lesson Indigo by Louis Fisher. Page number 52, we have to resume from the last paragraph. You can also see that this settlement was adopted taken, right? Here adopted anonymously by the commission, and of course they also accepted 25% of repayment. Everybody accepted, they willingly signed, right? Gandhi explained that the amount of the refund was less important than the fact that the landlords, you underline the word landlords, British Englishmen, right? British man or Englishman, businessman or owner of the estates, anything you can write. So landlords had been obliged. That means they came down the very first time in modern India. They had been obliged to. The landlords had been obliged to surrender. That means return, came down, accepted Indians. It's like proposal, right? Their opposition, and had been obliged to surrender part of the money and with it part of their prestige. This is what Gandhi explained. Gandhi was very happy by that. With that, Gandhi was very happy. So he explained to the peasants. Gandhi explained that the amount of the refund was less important than the fact that the landlords had been obliged to surrender part of the money and with that part of their prestige. That is very, 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 very important. You can underline that part of their prestige. That means British man, Englishman or Englishman. They used, right? They were boastful ones. Nowadays also maximum English people are boastful. You know what is the meaning boastful? Means they are always talking about themselves in a high manner. And therefore, as far as the peasants were concerned, underline the peasants were farmers, the planters, you underline the word planters and right, landlords or Englishmen had behaved as lords. Underline the word lords means we can also write maybe it is like masters or God or anything almighty. That means they overcame. That means overruled everything. They ruled up. That's why according to their consideration. That's why therefore as far as the peasants were concerned, the planters had behaved. They acted. They behaved. They pretended as lords. Lords were taking that maybe masters or God or Almighty. So as lords, bow the law, right? Now the peasants in turning, you can also make an arrow and write arrow mark and write the turning point in Indian's life. Now the peasants, underline that, now the peasants saw that he had or they had rights and defenders. Underline the word defenders means protectors. You write defenders means protectors. That means against British. They have changed their lifestyle because of Mahatma Gandhi. You understand that when they came down one step or something, they came down and they started to refund. Yeah, they consider and they also became. Now the peasants saw that they something they had rights and of course and defenders. They became. He learned courage. You underline the word he, underline, and that means he means you are right. He and make an arrow mark and write he means you write Indians. Indians learned courage by the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi. This is the hidden meaning, right? So he learned courage. Indian learned courage, right? Indians learned courage. And events justified Gandhi's position. You understand that all the things justified Gandhi's position, and of course, within a few years, the British planters abandoned. Until that day itself, we understand that day when they came to when they started to refund, that day itself, an Indian's lifestyle started to change. So you understand that that's why within a few years, the British planters abandoned their estates. You underline the word abandoned means given up. Given up, what is the meaning given up or gave up? That means they just left the place and they also surrendered to the Indian peasants and they just went to England. That's why events justified Gandhi's position and Gandhi became Mahatma and he became very popular. And within a few years, the British planters, the landlords, abandoned, gave up their estates, and which reverted to the peasants. You underline the word reverted means given back to the peasants. You understand that? Given up, abandoned, gave up. That means abandoned means left. You understand that? But here, which reverted means given back to the peasants means poor farmers. And indigo sharecropping disappeared. Very, very important. You can also underline the whole sentence. Indigo sharecropping disappeared from India. You understand that? That ancient arrangement, landlord system, sharecropping arrangement, 15% of their holding they wanted to, or they needed, or they forced to plant indigo plants, and they have to surrender entire harvest as rent. Everything was stopped. You understand? Indigo sharecropping disappear from India. Gandhi never contented himself with the large political or economical solutions. He saw the cultural and social backwardness in the Chambaran villages and wanted to do something about it immediately. You understand? That's why Gandhi became. Gandhi was something, that's why in the whole world we can say that, in the world we can identify the only one soul is known as Mahatma. Atma and Mahatma. That means soul and of course pure and of course very, very benevolent soul. Mahatma, greatest. So here Gandhi never contented. It means after even after giving independence also, after stopping or something rectifying or removing sharecropping arrangement from Chambaran district, Chambaran village, Gandhi never contented. Underline the word contented means satisfied himself with a large political or economic solution. And he wanted to do something to the particular village because he experienced a lot for almost 1 year. He saw the cultural and social backwardness while looking at the Chambaran villages. That means the Chambaran and nearby villages, Modigari, one by one, nearby villages, everything. Wherever he saw cultural and social backwardness, you underline the word. He saw the cultural and social backwardness in the Chambaran village and wanted to do something about it immediately. I have closed bracket and make an important symbol for something it is related for your extract, or we can also take for MCQs, right? Chambaran village and wanted to do something about it immediately. He wanted to do something, so he appealed for teachers. He just brought teachers. Cultural and social backwardness. You know what is the meaning? Even they were maximum, they were literate. That's why he wanted to do something. Even it is like bringing too many things in that village. That's why he appealed. That means called for. He just appeared. He just brought requested teachers Mahadev Desai and Narhari Parekh, two young men, that means teachers who had just joined Gandhi as disciples. You know what is the meaning disciple? Disciple means, underline the word, the follower of Gandhi. So followers of Gandhi, too many followers, but teachers, two young teachers were appointed. You understand that? So Gandhi requested the two young teachers, Mahadev Desai and Narhari Parekh, to men who had just joined Gandhi as disciples and their wives. You know what is the meaning wives? Wives means the plural form of wife and their wives. Understand that Mahadev and of course Narhari. Their wives volunteered for the work. Underline the word volunteer for the work. The work means social work. It means developing the particular village. It is like giving and providing and teaching, educating, all those things, conveying, imparting, too many things. So several more came from Bombay, Pune, and other distant parts of the land. That information spread everywhere, so that some of them, several more volunteers. Underline the word several more means several more volunteers came from too many various parts of India. That's why Bombay, Pune, and other distant Pune and other distant parts of the land. That means land in the sense village, Chambaran village, or we are taking that. And Devadas, you can underline the next character. So here we have come across too many characters, right? Rajendra Prasad, and then Kiribalani, Malgani, now Mahadev Desai, Desai, Narhari Parikh, and then Devadas, Gandhi's youngest son, right from the ashram, and so that Mrs. Gandhi also. You understand? Mahadev, Devadas, and Gandhi's wife. Mrs. Gandhi, primary schools were opened in 6 villages. Kasturbai, we are saying in Tamil Kasturibai, right? So Kasturbai, wife of Mahatma Gandhi, opened 6 schools in village. Kasturbai taught the ashram rules on personal cleanliness and community sanitation. This is what, which is very remote, which is very interior. And remote means we have to do it. It's like slum. We can also consider slum like they consider. That's why Gandhi also, not only Gandhi but also Gandhi's followers. We can take Mahadev Desai, Narhari Parikh, Devadas, and his wife Kasturbai, and too many, several we are taking, and several more came from too many places. So they started opened in 6 villages, primary schools. You understand that? So primary schools were opened in 6 villages. Kasturbai taught, what is the meaning taught? Educated. The ashram means, inculcated or cultivated. So taught the ashram rules on personal cleanliness and community sanitation. These two things are very, very important. Community sanitation. What is the meaning? Nowadays, sanitizer, sanitary liquid. Sanitation is very big, popular and famous, right? Since we are in pandemic situation, right? And personal cleanliness, that is, it is like we are saying, cleanliness is next to godliness. We have an old saying like. So we are saying that cleanliness, personal cleanliness, how much we are cleaned, you understand that, then only we can, it is like serving, it is like serving the humanity. That means, those who are nearby, we are providing something, health, cleanliness, cleanliness. So here, and she taught the ashram rules on personal cleanliness and community sanitation, and health conditions were miserable. Underline the word in that particular villages, and of course, health conditions were miserable. That means miserable means not in a proper way and worried, and of course that was something damaged totally. So health conditions were miserable means poor condition. That was in a poor state. So Gandhi got a doctor also. He just abroad. He got a doctor to volunteer his service for 6 months. How many months? 6 months. So you understand teachers and of course his youngest son and too many volunteers, including his wife also. And he brought doctors too to the particular village for the improvement or development of the particular village. So health conditions were miserable. Gandhi got a doctor to volunteer services for 6 months. Three medicines were available: castor oil, quinine, and sulfur ointment. So here three things were very famous: castor oil, quinine, and then sulfur ointment. Anybody who showed a coated tongue, once it was very, famous. That means, all the children also had something. So anybody who showed a coated tongue was given a dose of, what is the meaning dose? First dose, second dose, we came across even Covishield, Covaxin. So was given a dose of castor oil. Anybody with malaria, fever received quinine or plus castor oil, two things combined as medicines. You understand that because they were in 1916, 1917. You understand, before independence, you could understand. So anybody with skin eruptions, underline the skin eruptions means eruptions where it is something in a skin infection or inflammation. That means itching like. So anybody with the skin eruptions received ointment plus castor oil. Two things: ointment plus castor oil. So by that they also protected. You understand? They served the particular society. So Gandhi noticed the filthy state of women's clothes and everything. That's why the very beginning he mentioned that two things: so cultural and of course social or economical background. You can also see that Gandhi never contented himself with the large political and economic solutions. And of course, he saw the cultural and social backwardness in the Chamberan village, so that he wanted to do something. So he brought the teachers, he started primary schools, he brought us followers and disabled to educate them. And of course, Gandhi noticed the filthy state of women's clothes. You know what is the meaning filthy? Filthy means totally, untidy. You write untidy, tidy, untidy. So here untidy, filthy state of women's clothes, and they were always same way. That means they were wearing. He asked Kasturbai to talk to them about. So one woman, when she was discussing with them, and one woman took Kasturbai into her hut, underline the word hut and right, that means her house, and said, look, there is no box or cupboard here for clothes. The sari I am wearing is the only one I have. This is what they filthy state. This is what their economical state. So this is very important for your extract and of course your MCQs, and you can write that. And when Gandhi saw the filthy state of women's clothes, and he asked Kasturbai to talk to them and educate about the cleanliness, that means personal cleanliness and washing their clothes and wearing all those things. He also discussed with Kasturibai, and Kasturibai, as a representative of Gandhi, she just went and started to discuss with women of Chambaran village. But one of the women, do you understand that one of the women, she just took Kasturibai. So one woman took Kasturibai into her house and said, "Look, ma'am, there is no cupboard, no box here for clothes, because the sari I am wearing is the only one I have. So always I am wearing this. Even sometimes washing and using, always sometimes without washing also." That was the state, economical status. You understand that? Yes, before independence. So during his long stay in Chamberan, and they did something for the arrangement also, for the development also. And during his long stay in Chamberan, Gandhi kept the long distance watch on the ashram. So he came away, something he came away from ashram so that connectivity was missing. So his long stay in Chamberan, so almost 1 year, Gandhi kept a long distance watch on the ashram. So sometimes only. So he sent regular instructions by mail and asked for financial accounts. So all those things he through mail or letter he just posted, and communicated with the ashram. And once he wrote to their residents that it was time to fill in the old latrine trenches and dig new ones, otherwise the old ones would begin to smell bad. And he sent regular instructions. So Gandhi kept a long distance watch on the ashram. So he also, when he visited ashram, and from ashram also he sent message to Champaran village. When he was staying in Champaran, he also sent and collected all those things from ashram. So he wrote to the residents of the particular Champaran, or even in the ashram also. He wrote to the residents that it was time to fill the old letters. That means something. Latrine trenches means what is the toilet facilities. Once that was a system followed, and dig new ones, in the sense instead of one we have to go for the new one. Dig means we know digging out. That means preparing, creating a hole. So dig new ones, otherwise the old ones, what is the meaning, old ones would begin to smell bad. That is what the condition. Now we have sophisticated toilets and bathroom facilities nowadays. Once you just think that before getting technology development. Now you can also see page number 54. The Chamberlain episode was a turning point in Gandhi's life because, of course, almost he did spend 1 year. Chamberlain episode was a turning point in Gandhi's life. For your long answer, 6 marks or 5 marks, you can also make an important symbol. Based on your understanding of the lesson Indigo by Louis Fisher, you can explain the context. The Chamberlain episode was a turning point in Gandhi's life. What I did? He explained. It was a very ordinary thing. I declared that the British could not order me about in my own country. You understand that Gandhi was very simply. He was also discussing with our narrator Louis Fisher. He was, this is was a discussion. You understand, whatever we have come across, whatever we have experienced, everything from the discussion between Gandhi and Mahatma Gandhi and Louis Fisher. And that's why Gandhi explained that what I did, he was saying, I did my duty. Sometimes we are saying, I did my duty simply. So the Champion episode was a turning point in Gandhi's life. What I did, he explained, was what I did was a very ordinary thing. That means, this is my country. So in my country, I declared that the British who came from England and would not order me about in my own country. This is what very simple. In my house, I have to order. I have to rule my house. If someone someone comes and of course he starts to rule in my house, means then who am I? Who am I? I'm not the owner of my house. Likewise, this is my motherland. In my motherland, someone comes from some other country and they started to rule in the sense, then who we are. So I declare that the British could not order. You understand? Order here, rule, could not rule me about in my own country. This is what I have done. He was explaining. But Chamberlain did not begin as an act of defense. Defiance, underline the defiance means disobedience. So already Gandhi started. You understand the non-cooperation movement. Already a movement Gandhi already started, and of course that's why he visited too many parts in India and started too many movements also. So, but Chamberlain did not begin as an act of defiance means that is also one of the parts. That is also one of the incidents. One of the incidents and acts of defiance. Defiance means we are telling that disobedience. It grew out of an attempt to alleviate the distress of the large numbers of poor peasants. You underline the word. What is the meaning of alleviate? Means maybe it is like removing. So attempt to grew out an attempt to alleviate the distress of large numbers of poor persons. Large numbers of poor persons from Champaran village and the state from Bihar, and they started to alleviate means remove the distress. What was the distress? You know what is the meaning distress? Disappointment. That means pain from by pain by British landlords. You understand that? So here that is what an incident. That is what one of the parts. So here, but Chamberlain did not begin as an act of defense. It grew out of an attempt to alleviate, that means remove the distress, problem, barriers, obstacles of large numbers of poor persons from India. And this was the typical Gandhi's pattern. You understand that? Gandhi did not use any weapon. You understand that? Even we can take Subhash Chandra Bose, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, and too many leaders. They took something as tool, weapons. And of course, we have to uh, follow. We have to use to protect ourselves, and of course, oppose. but he was a different personality. You can also underline the word typical. Maybe some different. Maybe we can take peculiar. So here typical, underline the word and write peculiar or representation, or you can write anything. A different tool. So this is what, or this was the typical Gandhi pattern. So Gandhi's pattern is politics were intertwined. Underline the word intertwined. Intertwined means that we are taking that. Intertwined means maybe mixed up. You understand? So as politics were, political life, politics were intertwined with the practical and day-to-day problems of millions. That's why he became a hero and he became the Mahatma, our father of our nation. Understand? India's first. Whenever the whole world remembers India, means they will remember first Mahatma Gandhi, who brought independence, freedom to the nation. So this was the typical Gandhi pattern, as politics were intertwined, that means mixed up with this, with the practical and of course day-to-day problems of millions. Millions means Indians. And as was not a loyalty to abstractions. Underline the word. Abstraction means maybe we can take imaginary, and it was not a loyalty to abstraction, it was a loyalty to living. Something, we are always, whatever, some leaders, we have also come to know that some leaders, whatever they say, that will not, that's impact we cannot get in their activities, day-to-day activities. It means whatever they say, something different, whatever they do, something different. But here, whatever it, his loyalty, his was not a loyalty to abstractions. He was not only saying, he was not only imagining everything and saying it is like the poet, imaginary skills and writing all those things, not like that. It was a loyalty to living. You understand? He also lived. That's why he wore a dress code. Nobody wore like that. When he saw that, when he came India, that means when he came to Tamil Nadu in a particular remote village, he saw that, and women are people were not uh, like affordable, something affordable with a good dress code. So he also started to avoid wearing full dress code. That's why he started. He had a different dress code. You understand? So he lived. Understand? He mixed up everything with the poor living people. That's why it was loyalty. What is the meaning loyalty? Loyalness அப்படின்னு என்ன சொல்லுவோம், நம்பிக்கை உணர்வுன்னு சொல்லுவோம்ல. So it was a loyalty to living human beings, not for imaginary things, abstractions. His was not a loyalty to abstraction, கற்பனைக்கான pattern கிடையாது அவரது. It was a loyalty to living human being. That's why he became Mahatma. You understand that? So in everything Gandhi did, moreover, he tried to mold a new free Indian who could stand on his own feet and thus make India free. This is what does, you can also have close to bracket, make an important symbol. In everything Gandhi did, moreover, he tried to mold a new free Indian who could stand on his own feet and thus make India free. And he also brought, that means, of course, we can say that his dream came true by giving independence, by giving freedom. Nowadays we have too many scientists, too many doctors, too many engineers in all the fields. Now it is like developing country, and of course we are role model for too many countries and developing countries, and we have too many achievements. Even Abdul Kalam's record in India, nobody can. Even Vivekananda's speech in the particular America Chicago meeting and representation, even in English, and of course we can take some of them, some MP. We can take too many examples. So here this is the reflection of Gandhi's pattern, and of course whatever he provided. So in everything Gandhi did, moreover, he tried to mold a new free Indian. Now we can also take not only gentlemen, we can take even ladies also, in women also, not only men, women also achieving a lot of women. Of course, they are also, they became even pilot also. Too many characters we can take. So in everything Gandhi did, moreover, he tried to mold a new free Indian who could stand on his own feet and thus make India free. This is what he just brought. So early in the Chamber, and after all those things, early in the Chamber in action, Charles Freer Andrews, you can also underline a new character in our lesson, Charles Freer Andrews. While reading that, we can identify this name from England. So it's something, an English name. You can take for Charles Freer Andrews, the English pacifist. Underline the word. What is the meaning? Pacifist means peacemaker, who's not liking something violence. That's why he became a follower of Mahatma Gandhi. You may identify what I'm saying. Early in the Champaran action, so when Gandhi was taking, staying in Champaran, Charles Freer Andrews, the English pacifist, underline the word pacifist means peacemaker, who had come, who had become a devoted follower. You know what is I mean? Disabled. So here, who devoted follower of the Mahatma because of Mahatma's principles. You understand Mahatma Gandhi's principles. We can also take even too many Englishmen, those who are from Australia, those who are from Russia, those who are from too many, even China also, they start to learn Tamil and they devoted themselves for Tamil language. Likewise, we are taking that. So who is from England, and who was from England? Charles Freer Andrews, the English pacifist peacemaker, who had become a devoted follower of the Mahatma, came to bid. You know what is the meaning? Bid Gandhi farewell before going on a tour of duty to the Fiji Islands. So that means during that Champaran episode, that incidents, and of course that particular time, even Charles Freer Andrew also came from England, and of course he followed Mahatma Gandhi. When Mahatma Gandhi wanted to leave, that means go to a place, particular island, Fiji Islands, and they came, and of course they came to bid farewell. Even Charles Andrew also came to bid farewell. Just a minute. Yes, sir. You understand? He also came to bid farewell to Mahatma Gandhi for the particular tour. He wanted to do his duty, so that he planned a tour of duty to the Fiji Islands. This is visiting and making something, giving independent. That means giving spirit to independent movement. So Gandhi's lawyer friend thought it would be a good idea for Andrews to stay in Champaran and help them when Gandhi's absence. You understand? When Gandhi wanted to go, when Gandhi was going to Fiji Island, Gandhi's lawyer, you understand, Gandhi is one of the lawyer's friends. So lawyer friends thought it would be a good idea for Andrews to stay in Chamberlain and help them. You understand? Uh, uh, Even though something, Charles came from England to bid farewell to Mahatma Gandhi because he became the follower of Mahatma Gandhi. So that they asked because they knew who was Charles Andrew. He was a pacifist. You know what is the meaning pacifist means? Like Mahatma Gandhi, peacemaker, peace lover. So that he suggested, but here it was rejected. Andrew was willing if Gandhi agreed. Gandhi and Andrews also was very happy, willing if Gandhi agreed, but Gandhi was vehemently opposed. You underline the whole sentence. Vehemently means maybe very strongly Gandhi opposed. So, but Gandhi was vehemently opposed. He said, "You think that in this unequal fight, what does I mean unequal fight? Because small Indians can take on big sorts of British." And that means they think that in this unequal, not equal fight, unequal fight, and they were with technology development, and of course, and even human resource, even economical resource, and too many things. That's why they started to rule even the all over the world. You understand that the whole world they started to rule, British, England. But Gandhi was vehemently, very strongly opposed to the suggestion. He said, "You think that in this unequal fight it will be helpful if we have an Englishman on our side? No, no, this is not fair. So this shows the weakness of your heart. The cause is just, and you must rely upon yourselves to win the battle." And you can also have close to bracket. And you think he said to win the battle for your extract or for MCQs also. So here when he thought that, so you can also see from the beginning, I can also read one second. Early in the Champaran action, Charles Freer Andrews, the English pacifist who had become a devoted follower of the Mahatma, came to bid Gandhi farewell before going on a tour of duty to the Fiji Islands. Gandhi's lawyer friends thought it would be a good idea for Andrews to stay in Chamberan and help them, and was willing if Gandhi agreed. But Gandhi was vehemently opposed. He said, Gandhi vehemently opposed. You understand that? And you think that in this unequal fight, it would be helpful if we have an Englishman on our side? This shows the weakness of your heart, our heart. The cause is just, and you must rely upon. You know what is the meaning rely upon? Dependent upon. Rely upon yourselves to win the battle. You should not seek a prop. Underline the word support. Prop means support. You should not seek a support in Mr. Andrews because he happens to be an Englishman. So whatever it is, even though he is a follower of me or mine, my follower, but I will not take because he is from England. So he, Mr. Andrew, because he happens to be an Englishman, so we should not get support from Mr. Charles Frears Andrew, right? And he had read our minds correctly. Rajendra Prasad comments when he completed. Rajendra Prasad was also there. He also came to with Mahatma Gandhi, and he was telling that he comments. He had read our minds correctly. You can underline the whole sentence. He had read our minds correctly. Rajendra Prasad said for your MCQs and of course your extra questions. And we had no reply when Gandhi was saying like that and ordering. We had no reply. We didn't speak anything. We didn't speak anything against Gandhi. And Gandhi in this way taught us a lesson in self-reliance. You know what is the meaning self-reliance? Underline the word. Self-dependence. Self-reliance means தன்னம்பிக்கை அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்கல்ல செல்ஃப் கான்ஃபிடென்ஸ் சொல்லுவாங்க ரிலையன்ஸ் நம்மளை சார்ந்திருக்கிறது செல்ஃப் dependence தன்னம்பிக்கை அப்படின்றத he taught us so Gandhi in this way taught us a lesson in self-reliance Indian independence and health to self-purpose were all bound together in modern India by Mahatma Gandhi. This is what he wanted to convey through this episode, Champaran episode. Our narrator, Lois Fisher. Right, sir? The remaining textual understanding and all those things, look back activities, and our summary in the next class we can discuss.